All right, welcome everybody. If you haven't noticed by now, you have to wear this headset to hear this session. For me and my fellow presenters, this is the first time we're doing a silent disco, so I'm really excited to see how it turns out. So afterwards, I'd love to hear your feedback on the silent disco format for this talk. So welcome to reInvent 2024. By way of introduction, my name is Rishi Bhaskar. I've taken on the role to lead our global public sector partnership business earlier this year. And I got to tell you, I've been at reInvent as a partner, and this is my first time, obviously, on the other side of the wall, being a part of Amazon and being an Amazonian, as we're known. And I got to tell you, the experience was a lot more enjoyable as a partner, just so you know. But we're getting through it. This is our second presentation of the day, so I'm looking forward to welcoming a couple of guests with me on this session, as well. Before I dive into it, I just want to highlight a couple sessions that are going to happen later today and tonight. We have an innovation talk with Dave Levy, the head of Worldwide Public Sector, tomorrow at 3 o'clock over at the Venetian. Sorry, 1 o'clock over at the Venetian. We have our worldwide head of channels and alliances, Dr. Ruba Borno, delivering the partner keynote on Wednesday at 3. Then, of course, I'm inviting all of you to join us at the Chaos Nightclub for the public sector reception party, as it's known. We use reception as a fancy word, but it's really a party. So please join us there on Wednesday night. We'll have three parts of our session today. First off, I want to talk a little bit about partners and what they mean to the public sector business. I get a lot of questions about what do partners do, how do you engage with partners. As everyone knows, we have a direct team and a partner team that actually takes solutions forward to our customers. The majority of our business in public sector is conducted to and through and with our partners. So when I get this question often, I quickly answer by saying partners are our business. And I see there's a cross-section of our partners here in this session today. So thank you for joining us. We're going to talk a little bit about the future horizons and what can we expect going forward. How do we prepare ourselves to take advantage of technology innovation that AWS brings, but then also layering your technology and your unique differentiation on top of the infrastructure and the solutions that AWS provides. And then, of course, I'll be joined by two phenomenal individuals, both from Rackspace and Capgemini, for a fireside chat on a couple really interesting solutions that they've built and implemented in the market. So it's fairly well known that we have a mantra of being customer obsessed or customer obsession here at Amazon, and it started from day one when the company was founded. And really being customer obsessed means your mission is our mission. And I talk a lot about the public sector mission and how meaningful the public sector mission really is. But what's really more important is driving the partners into a profitable position to support our end customers and meeting their goals and fulfilling their outcomes. And to that end, to make sure we have everything in place that you need to be successful, is we're working really hard to tailor our support to you. We have a multitude of programs, 30 plus programs that support you in your business. And the best thing about running this business is being able to get your feedback and modify and update those programs to meet what you need to drive your success. And then last but certainly not least, I don't think I need to talk about the third bullet on this chart. We know that the opportunity is tremendous. We know the opportunity is on us now to really outpace everybody in the industry and continue to drive innovation for public sector with our partners. There's a couple key things that I want to point out. We know that as a cloud service provider, you have choices. And we also know that we are the cloud service provider that was first to market in the industry and has the fully featured set of offerings that support our public sector mission. And I want to make sure everyone takes away the fact that how invested I am personally in all of your success and how we're going to continue to modify our go-to-market approach to meet our ever-changing customer demands. I know we're not perfect all the time, and several of you have provided that feedback already on areas where we're lacking. I encourage you to keep it coming. My goal is to build very deep relationships with all of you and drive our public sector missions globally. As we get through this process, I want to give you a couple of data points that I'm not just talking about listening, we're actually listening and making the relevant changes to support your business. We know it's hard to access some of our programs. So we're working to make access to our marketplace much easier. And I know there's some folks in the room that have built private marketplace offerings that make it really easy for our public sector customers to gain access to. We also want to make sure we're value aligned, not only with our customers, but also with our partners and the values you're trying to drive through your business. And then of course, we're going to accelerate growth. We have a number of programs where we're bringing not only credits to your business, but also some programs that are going to introduce cash to your business as well. So a lot of opportunity to really take advantage of the feedback you've given us and how we're modifying and investing in our programs. One thing I want to point out though, and I think everybody in this audience knows this, is marketplace is a big bet and a big investment for all of us. We know for a fact that when customers transact through marketplace, we're closing deals 50% faster than without marketplace. So I encourage everybody in this audience that has an offering, talk to your partner team, figure out how you get on marketplace so you get access to every vehicle out there in the world to transact with your public sector customers. And then last but certainly not least, our partners have seen a 234% return on an investment when they spend the money to join marketplace. So a big investment from all of us, and please keep your feedback coming on how do we continue to improve it. I want to talk a little bit about the future and how do I see the future evolving for us. We talk a lot about the partner flywheel, and what does that mean? You'll hear today from a couple of our partners on implementations they've made that really bring together the power of a lot of different partners. And to us, that's the benefit our partners have in joining the AWS ecosystem, is that breadth and depth of partners that can really come together and drive the right mission outcomes for our customers. But it's not the only thing we have to focus on. Of course, we want to drive the right mission outcomes, but I need to make sure every partner in this room and in this conference today is profitable. And so we've introduced a lot of different mechanisms, particularly the partner profitability framework, to make sure you're driving not only the right outcomes for our customers, but you're driving a profitable business for yourselves as well. We have a long-term strategic vision in public sector on how we're going to grow, where we're going to grow, and who we're going to grow with, particularly our partners. And that strategic vision has to align at the top of all of your organizations with AWS and with our customers' outcomes, or desired outcomes. And to that end, we've spent billions of dollars expanding our footprint globally, all over the world. And to give you a little bit of a snapshot of what that footprint looks like today, is we're ready to meet our customers where they are. We have over 108 availability zones across 34 geographic regions. And we have significant investment plans to launch availability zones or regions in Mexico, New Zealand, South Africa, Thailand, and Taiwan. I was just in New Zealand working with the team and preparing for our launch in Auckland, and we're getting a lot of momentum for our public sector customers to join the new region we're launching in New Zealand. But it doesn't stop just with our current infrastructure. Drilling down into country-specific investments, we're making a huge investment across EMEA and across Australia and New Zealand. There's a $13.2 billion investment in cloud infrastructure that is valued for the Australian GDP. In Canada, there's a $24.8 billion opportunity to actually launch into cloud for the entire Canadian government and the Canadian and Canada as a country. And we have our West region that just came online in Calgary in Western Canada. The other really interesting thing, I talked a little bit about Auckland and what we're doing there. In New Zealand, we expect a $10.8 billion increase to GDP when we launch our Auckland cloud. We're not the only game in town, but we are the game in town. We also are investing significantly in the UK. Over the next 5 years, we're going to support over 14,000 jobs annually in the UK with an £8 billion investment across our infrastructure in the UK. And my friend David from Capgemini is from the UK, so we'll ask him a little bit about that when he comes up and joins me. This to me is probably the most important chart of the day. And this is where we see the 6x multiplier for our partners. So what this shows you is for every dollar of AWS service sold, our partners generate $6.4 every day. I'll repeat that for a moment. For every dollar of AWS sold, our partners generate $6.40 for every dollar of AWS sold. This provides tremendous upside for all of us that support public sector and customers and are partnered with AWS. This is a key part of our business going forward. We also know that this status, I think everybody knows this by heart, we've just scratched the surface on what's possible in our industry. Over 85% of workloads for our customers globally remain on-prem. And so not only are we looking at how do we bring those workloads to cloud, but how do we take those workloads and modernize them and take advantage of innovation going into the future. One of the programs that we've initiated to help us do that is the Migration Acceleration Program, or MAP. This is the single largest funded program that we offer to our public sector partners. And we know that MAP really helps all of you with a proven methodology to start the dialogue of how you're going to bring your customers onto cloud. Not only is it going to give you the methodology to start the conversation and bring your customers to cloud and bring their strategic workloads to cloud, we're also going to help you with the bubble cost. We know it's intensive to get this process started, and the MAP program really helps you kick off and reduce that barrier of entry for that migration effort, of which we know our partners drive significant business out of migration. So I encourage you to continue to take advantage of the MAP program. And then lastly, we've launched a classified MAP program for regulated agencies and government entities that can't take advantage of commercial cloud. So I talked a lot about our global infrastructure, the investments we're making around the world, but I also want to make sure everybody recognizes that we're invested heavily in small business as well. As we go around the world and we walk through procurements of all sizes, major defense contracts to healthcare modernization programs, small businesses are critical to the public sector success, and we're invested heavily in small business. For partners that have joined the small business program, we've seen over 40% year-to-date launched opportunities and growth for partners that joined this program last year. So 40% increase in opportunities in 2024 alone for partners that are in the Think Big for Small Business program. We've also seen these partners just year to date win over 40 contracts across the world in public sector. We are absolutely here for our small business partners, and we're looking forward to connecting our small business partners further to some of our large contractors that are driving significant innovation in digital transformation programs. Here's a great example. I talked earlier today about, we say a lot of things at Amazon, but we also kind of give you facts on the ground. And this is a great example of a small business that really is meeting the mission in healthcare. So Pieces Technology is an AWS software partner and healthcare AI research and development firm that applies ensemble AI methods to support the work of healthcare teams. Their generative AI solution, designed in collaboration with clinicians, distills electronic health record information into actionable insights. That's the key, right? We all talk about migrations and doing things with our data, but we have to turn that data into actionable insights. Their generative AI solution, which is named Pieces, has been deployed across inpatient clinic enterprises for children's health. Pieces is integrated into the pediatric health system's Epic electronic medical records used by doctors, nurses, and case managers daily for clinical handoffs, length of stay management, discharge barrier resolution, team communication, and multidisciplinary rounds. As an AWS partner, Pieces was able to leverage marketing support from us to showcase their solution at the Global HIMSS conference. This is us investing back in with one of our key small business partners. In addition to that, the AWS sales team is in collaboration with Pieces on multiple upcoming opportunities via our Think Big for Small Business program, leveraging generative AI. There's also another correlation I want to share with everybody, and that's around competencies. There is clear data that shows the growth of your revenue as a partner is directly tied to the number of competencies you hold. We encourage all partners to have a minimum of 4 competencies, and the data speaks for itself. Invest in competencies, figure out which ones are right for you, and working with your partner account team to drive your business locally in every geo that you're in. The other opportunity I want to share with everyone is around multitudes of ways to market. Over the last 2 years, we've been working with distributors, and distributors have been a key part of our go-to-market program. For partners that are not able to have a direct relationship with AWS, or partners that do have a direct relationship with AWS need access to things that they just can't develop on their own. That could be contract opportunities, that could be small business support. We've seen a tremendous support around back office and billing that our distributors will do on behalf of you, really easing the burden for you to get to market and leveraging our distribution partners. For partners that have used distribution, we've seen a 133% increase in the number of partners that are transacting, a 155% increase in customer growth, and a 166% increase in revenue over the last 2 years. I know some of our distribution partners are in the audience, so I encourage you to reach out to all of them and get connected. You know, this is something I've been talking about for the last 6 months as soon as I walked in the door here at AWS. I didn't give you much of my background, but I'm a technologist at heart and software engineer, historically, or by training, I should say. And one of the things I noticed is how we offer the world's most unique and most differentiated services in our platform. But what we don't offer is how to take those services and create value-add solutions that drive mission outcomes for our customers. And that's where all of you step in and fill that void for us. You take what we offer in the industry, you add your unique value prop and value in your differentiation, and you deliver solutions. I do have a hypothesis that if I can meet you closer to that solution edge, we're going to get to market much faster. And as we go forward in 2025, we're going to make a lot of investments in a solution orientation in addition to our services orientation. We will roll out programs that will be much more prevalent for build, market, and sell opportunities. And we've also introduced something we call our Box program, which allows a lot of our partners to connect with each other and build solutions very rapidly. And we'll facilitate those sessions around the world throughout 2025. So really, really important that we drive a solution orientation, because so many of our customers don't know what EC2 is. They don't know what S3 buckets are, but they know when they know what problem they're trying to solve, and we need to close that gap for them with the solution orientation. To that end, I want to share an example from Appian. The Appian Award Management System gives federal contracting organizations and program management offices the power to manage all contract award processes, activities, and data in a compliant, consistent, and repeatable way. The application guides contracting and program office staff through the award management process and ensures that the process is fully compliant with the FAR and DFAR requirements from agency compliance. In this case, the customer was the Texas Department of Public Safety, Office of Procurement and Contract Services. That agency is responsible for the acquisition of all goods and services used by Texas DPS. The office was having their office was using several non-integrated systems to manage hundreds of contracts, which led to a slow manual contract award process. Through this program, Appian streamlined the contract award process end-to-end, utilizing the Appian Government Management Solution. The most interesting part about this project, though, it was the power of 3. Appian was a software provider, and Deloitte implemented this program within 3 months. And the key benefits we saw were more than 15,000 contract actions were migrated for daily management, and there's now a certified system where all information is viewable by more than 10,000 stakeholders within the Texas government. The Office of Procurement and Contract Service can now better plan for enhancements and upgrades. This is all about driving efficiency and the power of 3 on the AWS platform with the key software provider and a global systems integrator. We talk a lot about generative AI and what generative AI can do for the world, and not only the increase in GDP and the increase in innovation, but generative AI is on our future horizon. But how do we get there? We've got to take our customers on a data strategy or a data journey. The data is key to our business growth and unlocking that future horizon. There's 3 key elements to a data strategy that we want to take our customers on a journey with us. First off, we need a comprehensive set of services that meet their current and future data needs, which means I need all of you to lean in because you know their needs the best. You're closest to the customer. They need solutions that integrate data seamlessly regardless of where it lives. We know the data exists all over the place, mainframes, legacy databases, file systems. So we need a comprehensive data strategy to migrate to cloud. And we also need the right governance strategy to ensure we're meeting all compliance requirements for local agencies. Data is at the heart of artificial intelligence and machine learning. We cannot unlock the power of AI without taking our customers on a data migration strategy or data migration journey. Only once we rationalize our customers' data can we really take advantage of all the machine learning opportunity we have in front of us on our future horizon. I want to give you a quick example of something IBM built for the Veterans Administration. I was actually floored when I saw these numbers, but the VA receives 7 million claim submissions with over 14 million documents every year. And in 2019, actually the VA was facing a 27-day backlog in claims establishment and a growing list of new benefit programs that required substantial increases in resources to review all these submissions. IBM was tasked with providing an end-to-end solution, something that created an automation framework, an operating model, and a governance model built on best-of-breed technology. They also offered a managed service and capacity-based model that could be fungible and scale and expand with new requirements. And then, of course, a secure and reliable system that meets IL6 standards for HIPAA and DFAR compliance. The data strategy that was developed by IBM for the Veterans Administration was comprehensive. It's a data governance model which established policies, standards, and procedures to ensure quality and security and privacy and compliance with all regulations. They defined a data architecture, and the data architecture defined the technology infrastructure and systems needed to collect, store, process, and integrate data across various sources. Of course, we needed a data collection and management solution focused on acquiring, organizing, storing data from the appropriate sources. We also had a data analytics and insights opportunity here as well because we needed to drive the right visibility once we actually got the data in the right place. And then, of course, the security and privacy strategy. IBM delivered a proven platform that extended the end-to-end enterprise applications. They delivered this comprehensive automated platform with generative AI. The results are astounding. They went for 65% automation of current claims and mail intake, a 97% reduction in claims intake lead time from 27 days to 24 hours, and of course introduced over 35 AI classifiers in this program. This is a phenomenal project driven by IBM. We talk a lot about generative AI and the importance of it. I talked about this earlier. I encourage everybody in this audience to take advantage of the Generative AI Impact Initiative that we launched in the summer of 2024. This is a $50 million investment that AWS is making in our public sector customers and partners. I have a piece of this budget that's assigned to our partners, and we still have probably a third available for our partners to take advantage of. So I encourage everybody to reach out to your partner account teams and take advantage of this opportunity. We're here to celebrate your successes as well. My partnership agreement to you is meet you where you are, modify our programs to meet our ever-evolving business, and make sure all of you are driving highly profitable business. We're invested in your profitability, we're invested in your success, our mutual customers' success, and we'll continue to lead and pace the industry in cloud and generative AI. I said at the top of this session, partners are our business in public sector, and I really take this opportunity to thank all of you for participating with us today. And with that, I'm from the East Coast, so I talk a little fast, so if it's going too fast, then we'll have to talk a little bit afterwards. But with that, I'd like to introduce Jeff Martinez. Jeff Martinez is the VP of State and Local Education at Rackspace. Jeff, come on up.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're going to do a little bit of a dance here across this small stage. Is that okay? So I want to give you a little bit of background about Jeff. So Jeff's the VP of State and Local Government Education at Rackspace. His professional career of service, first as a military officer, and now teaming with our AWS public sector community here in the US over the last 8 years. As an Air Force officer, he served our nation for 20 years while leveraging while leading critical missions on a global scale, teamed with various special mission units, including U.S. Special Operations and the White House. Jeff played a key role as a personal communications officer to President Obama, led roles across multiple NSA and special mission units. Jeff has held on to the service before self approach and his ability to earn trust relationships while partnering to enable state and local education customers is why Jeff is here today. That's an impressive resume, but what I love the most, getting to know Jeff over the last couple months, is his family's motto. And it's strong, happy, respectful, and his personal goal to maintain a high say-do ratio is what I really admire and appreciate about Jeff.
No, thank you.
So,
thank you.
Jeff, thank you, and thank you for joining us at re:Event.
I appreciate it. I'll be honest with you guys. I walked in, saw the headphones. I thought you and I were going to play Madden, Commanders against Cowboys. I thought that's what we were doing.
We all know how that would end. The Commanders would choke away at the last second.
So, no, I'm really happy to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity, so thank you very much. That's a humbling introduction. Thank you.
So Jeff, you guys have been active, very active in the state and local space. You have a very interesting project at a higher education institution. How do you approach these higher education institutions, or even local government for that matter, when everybody's going after this multi-cloud approach? You clearly have a strategy that's working. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you a couple examples along the way as well. So quite honestly, when we think about at Rackspace approaching and our customers approaching multi-cloud environments, there's really a few things I think that are critical and important. One is the fact that we've been doing this for a long time, yep. Right? And so we have the experience, but more importantly, it's never about us, right? And so there are three components I'd like to share in regards to multi-cloud environments, and our customers need help. One of them is really understanding the why. Northeastern University is a great example. Understanding why they're doing what they're doing, and bringing people along. Look, you have to take the time to understand each critical mission, and each mission is completely different. Each university is different. Each department inside the university system is different. And so taking that time and working with that CIO to really understand how to enable them to bring their organization along with them. And so understanding their processes, understanding their security requirements, their policies, their standards, all the things that are important to them before you really start giving them the idea of what they should be going to do, right? And so I think understanding that why is critical. It should never be, is it business reasons? Is it technology? Is it purpose? Or is it a customer experience, right? The second thing that I'd hit on is really focus on dispelling the myths for your customers. There's really three I'll share with you, Rishi, that you've probably heard them as well. Yep. One is, we should do multi-cloud because everybody's doing it, or we need to do it. And quite honestly, not everybody should do it. And a lot of folks that are doing it aren't having that great experience right now. And so as a partner vendor, it is critical for us to work with them proactively to plan that, because quite honestly, in the public sector community, the missions are so critical. You just can't get it wrong, right? And so we've got to be proactive in how we do that. And the last thing, one of the other myths I hear is, oh, it'll save me money. And you and I both know, right? If it's not planned right, if it's not done right, it could be very costly, and that cost could scale really quickly, right? So operationally, my recommendation to partner vendors and to our customers, the approach is focus on being that master of one platform in a multi-cloud environment. If you try to master them all, you become a master of none. And so really focusing on that one particular principal platform like AWS is an opportunity for your staff to get really fine-tuned on that particular platform, and then partner with somebody like Rackspace or AWS to help mitigate the risk and the cost and the disparate environments that you're creating, right? And so saving money is a good idea, but it's also using that myth and jumping into multi-cloud for those reasons, quite honestly, is also a security concern. Yep. When you inject disparate environments, there's a possibility that you actually decrease your security posture. And so we have to be very careful about that and proactive planning. Quite honestly, well-architected environments are critical. And AWS is at the top of the list of providing that security platform that people can rely on and trust.
Yeah. Oh, Jeff, I love the concept of being that partner, that customer advisory, and offering that customer advisory service to really drill into the problems you're trying to solve. once you get through the advisory kind of phase of your programs, how do you then cross the big hurdle, which is moving into migrations to start taking advantage of cloud?
Yeah, it's really that last component of having a clear strategy and a governance model to support, right? And so Northeastern University, I'll use them as another example. They did a really good job of understanding their why. The CIO did a really good job of bringing them, the organization, the leadership, the procurement department, everybody that's involved, to include the IT staff. It's critical, right? And so that's where they were, and they dispelled those myths. But more importantly, we jumped in as advisory services, to your point, and that's Rackspace's superpower, right? Teaming with those customers, understanding their missions, understanding where they are, and then moving from there, right? And so we were able to do that by teaming with them and becoming part of their team, integrating with their foundational team. And it's a do with, it's not a do for, right? And so that's how we approach it. And it's very critical for them to understand what's their ethics statement around generative AI? What are their policies and standards? Because you're creating that overall governance model, not to restrict them, but to enable them, to streamline the services that they're offering to their constituents, customers, and families, like mine and yours.
Yeah, no, it's great. And you mentioned kind of finding their why, which is, I call it building the foundation, right? You've built the foundation, you understand their needs and their why. You've started to get them to the right point of migrating, but then we got to go down the modernization lead as well.
Yeah.
And you mentioned generative AI being part of this long-term program. How do you bring Gen AI into traditionally kind of conservative environments in higher ed? And there's always budget and funding challenges, and
Absolutely.
we're after grant money on a lot of these programs.
Yeah.
How do you get them to go down what we think is the future and look at generative AI as an opportunity for the university?
For me personally, Rishi, when I think about the next evolution, when I think about emerging technologies for our public sector customers, especially universities, higher education, I think about a subdivision kind of analogy,
Yep.
right? So think about the subdivision out in your neighborhood. Zoom back to where you just came from before your flight, right? Go back, that gated subdivision, each home being a unique enterprise, that home on a foundation that's integrated with security, electrical, plumbing, all these things, right? And that particular home inside that subdivision is integrated into a larger governance model, which all of this data of consumption, all of this, you've got the consumption model, the invoicing, the response, the support that a larger city enterprise provides. Same thing here, enterprise of enterprises. And so you have that data, right? So think about a smart city. You have to have a proactive data strategy up front, right? Because public sector evolves at their own pace. It's different than commercial, as you know. Higher education is no different. So being able to have that data strategy up front and being able to understand how they're going to best utilize that data information, those repositories, to provide capacities and posture them for emerging technologies at their pace when they're ready. And so for us, we've been focused on, as you know, we talked a little bit about the higher education research category. I think that is a huge opportunity for us to help enable those customers. Usually when you approach higher education, you're talking to the system CIO of some sort. But there are research departments out there in higher education all over the world that are doing this amazing research that is really going to be the tip of the spear of the next iteration of advancements in medical or science or humanity services, right? And so getting them ready and getting them postured is important. We're actually focusing, if you get down to the tactical and what we're really solutioning, we're actually focusing on grants, right? So every university goes through these grant proposals, identifying the particular grant that's relatable to their project they're working on in that research department, and then figuring out how to go through that to have the relevant understanding of, yes, our project meets the criteria. That takes time and energy. Usually a few grad students get tapped on the shoulder and said, go figure that out. But the solution for us is that RFX tool to kind of drop and drag, score it out, figure out how those proposals work, and then streamline the process.
Jeff, it's always a pleasure talking to you because you and I see the world the same way. It's all about the mission in public sector. There's a lot of sectors we could go into, but we're here because we care about the mission of public sector, whether that's creating a safer world, modernizing healthcare for better outcomes, or leaning in the higher education world to drive the right infrastructure for our future generations. Higher ed's a long way to get to where you need, right? It's a long sales cycle.
Yeah.
You go through the advisory phase, you go through the implementation phase, then you go through modernization and upgrades and et cetera. Tell me a little about the timeline you've experienced in working in the higher education space.
The timeline is a certain pace there. It's different than state and city.
Yeah.
So when I think about that, for the partner vendors out there, my colleagues, because your success in state, it doesn't automatically mean you're an expert in higher education. It doesn't automatically mean you understand city government or nonprofits. Each particular category of public sector is different. Each university is different. And so what we've noticed working with universities is that they've got so many complexities internal, how they communicate, how they provide services, the students, the faculty, the research departments. And so it does slow things down a little bit, but they're so hungry for help and enablement, right? They want to work with somebody they can trust. You and I both know people want to work with people they know and people they trust. And that's really key. So it is a bit slower in the higher education category, but I think for good reason.
Jeff, you've given us some really great information about Rackspace and the projects you're after. We have a very diverse group here of partner types. What are some of the key takeaways you'd like for this audience to walk away with?
Probably nothing you haven't heard before, right? Solutions are solutions over products. I'll be quite frank, don't peddle products. CIOs aren't interested in shiny products. They're interested in relationship building. They're interested in you investing and feeling like they understand, that you understand their mission, that you understand their pace. There's so much public knowledge out there. Do your homework, right? The CIO has a strategy, some annual strategy out there. You know what the projects they're working on. You know what the funding looks like. You know what their successes are. A lot of those things are out there, right? And quite honestly, at the very least, start where they are, right? Don't assume that your success in other categories is going to be the right answer for them. That's really my take.
So you're investing in the long game, Jeff. I appreciate that. We all know this is a marathon, not a sprint. Sometimes it feels like we're sprinting a marathon, however.
Right.
But the work you're doing is really rewarding.
No, I appreciate it.
And I appreciate your partnership.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome.
So we have one more guest speaker with us here today. I'd like to ask David Ganesh to come on up. David's the head of Capgemini's Cloud Center of Excellence for Northern and Central Europe, one of Capgemini's largest territories. He's been with Cap for almost 12 years, over 12 years, at which time he's helped over 50 customers achieve their business outcomes in public and commercial sectors. Before joining Cap, David spent 7 years at CSC, now DXC Technology, where he ran applications business across EMEA, and 18 years with the PA Consulting Group, where he was a senior partner responsible for many high-profile projects. David's a member of the Institute of Directors, a member of the Royal College of Science, and holds a first-class honors degree from the Imperial College of Science and Technology. Actually, I asked David for a fun fact about him, and he gave me a really good one. There was a government CIO meeting in London that him and his team had prepared for quite some time. They were in the waiting room to go in and see the CIO, and the fire alarm went off. And so instead of bailing out on the meeting, David and his team and the CIO and his team walked across the street to a local park, walked around the park, and actually had the meeting live and in a collaborative spirit. How did it turn out, David?
We got to work.
They got to work, good. They closed some business. So I love the creativity and the commitment, David. It also goes to show you that sometimes when you spend days and weeks preparing PowerPoint, you don't really need to. Let's go have a conversation, which is phenomenal. Thank you, David, and welcome to join us.
Thank you.
I have a quick video that I want to play of the project we're going to talk about here with David. So this should go.
More than 2 billion people worldwide are insecure about their food.
How to best feed all of us in times of global distress and famine.
Through AI and big data, we aim to answer these questions.
This is a unique partnership, bringing together the scientific expertise of Johns Hopkins and Tilburg University, the reach of the United Nations World Food Programme, and the digital expertise of Capgemini.
This Project Enhance.
Our world faces many problems. Climate change, war and conflict, and more than 2 billion people who are insecure about their food. The United Nations World Food Programme is helping many people in many countries by procuring, transporting and distributing food. We from the Zero Hunger Lab at Tilburg University are supporting them with that. But we need more. We need data to analyze, data to plan, design and optimize in order to act.
We are collaborating to build a big data platform that stores and analyzes information on food costs, food productivity and diets from all over the world. And with it, we can calculate how to best feed the greatest amount of people as balanced, affordable and environmentally friendly as possible, open and accessible to all.
With this platform, we can help governments and individuals around the world to make better choices, to make diets and food systems more future-proof, fill the nutrition gap, and have a better world food ecosystem. With this, we can help millions of people.
Enhance is part of our global challenge, Tech for Positive Futures. Because at Capgemini we believe that we can leverage our expertise in creating positive impact in society.
Together, we can feed the world better.
What an amazing story. We talked a little bit with Jeff about the mission and why we're all here. This is exactly why we're all here, and really meeting just an absolute great story. David, thank you for your partnership in delivering this project. What stage has this project reached so far, and where are we in the journey?
Okay, so let me explain the journey that we've been on, the outcomes we've delivered, where we are on our plans. So Enhance started 4 years ago with the mission to feed the world better. 40% of the population of the world suffers from malnutrition. So we had one goal at the beginning, and that was to determine what it would cost to feed families in different parts of the world a nutritionally balanced meal, and what would be in that food basket. Armed with that information, governments from around the world could set policies that would enable more nutritious food to be available, to lower the price of making that food available, but also to target interventions with particularly vulnerable people, young children, pregnant women, breastfeeding mothers. Now, at the time, there was an existing system that did this, but it was extremely clunky. It consisted of literally hundreds of spreadsheets, lots of manual key-ins, lots of copy and paste. It was only understood by a small group of people, and it used to take weeks to provide the data for a single government to be able to make those policy decisions. What we did with Enhance was to create a data platform on AWS that delivered a number of outcomes. Firstly, it reduced the time taken to produce these reports from weeks to literally minutes. Now, why was that important? It was important because it allowed the data scientists and the data analysts to spend more time interpreting the results and to be able to gain insights to make the policies that governments would follow even more effective. The data platform was also a lot more transparent and repeatable. There are certain factors like the pricing of food, which is highly volatile. But with the platform, we were able to rerun results very quickly and compare them in a way we could not do before. The third outcome, and this is a really interesting one, was we completely democratized the technology solution. We made it accessible to a wide variety of people, and that really promoted international collaboration on a scale that we just hadn't seen before. And the final benefit of the solution was that it allowed us to keep pace with changes. The science never stands still. Models will continue to evolve, and the solution gave us a way of actually keeping up to date with the latest thinking of the science. Where we've reached is that in 2023 we deployed the solution to 2 pilot countries, Cambodia and Colombia. In 2024 we've rolled out to a further 15 countries, principally in Latin America, the Caribbean and Africa. And we're going to be rolling out in 2025 to an even greater number of countries particularly in Asia. And when I say we're rolling the solution out, it is not just deploying the technology, we're actually delivering the business outcomes in terms of the governments of those countries using the data from Enhance to set policy to help feed the people in that country better.
You're taking advantage of tremendous amount of regional specific data on the program, data on the people, and the needs that folks have within these regions. How'd you land on the use of cloud to run through your analytics opportunity to really get to the right distribution model?
Yeah, I mean, cloud was absolutely essential for a number of reasons. So I could break it down in terms of the data we had to work with that you've referred to, Rishi, and also the processing. And I could then, what I'll do is explain the relevance of cloud to that. There were 4 principal data sets that were important to us. One is what constitutes a healthy diet. And this was repeated for every country in the world, and we looked at age, gender, physiological factors, activity levels. So what constitutes a healthy diet was important. We also needed to understand the nutritious value of food. This was done through food composition tables. We also had to take into account certain environmental factors, greenhouse gas emissions, water and land use, and also the volatile food prices. Together, these constituted a massive data set, which is getting bigger and bigger. And cloud was absolutely essential to be able to store that that volume of information. The processing that needed to be carried out was really quite significant. We needed to use the mathematical models to put together food baskets that would meet that healthy diet criteria. We would then be able to cost what those food baskets would cost. We would then be able to calculate the environmental factors associated with that food basket, and then be able to optimize it in a way that allowed us to determine for each target group of population, wherever they are in the world, what would constitute a healthy diet that was affordable and environmentally friendly. That level of mathematical processing also required scalable compute. Now we're going beyond that and also looking at capabilities around Gen AI, and that's bringing in more innovation that can only be delivered on a cloud platform.
It's a great lead into my next question, which is really about where we're headed as an industry and public sector and taking advantage of Gen AI. How are you thinking about implementing principles of generative AI to aid this program even better?
Yeah. So, firstly, AWS and CAP are working very closely together around the innovation aspects. I mean, so there's a lot happening in terms of the science, which is influencing what we do, but we're also providing back to the World Food Programme some real insights on how technology can drive innovation. And Gen AI is a great example. We also need to recognise what we're talking about here is a platform which is going to be used to shape government policy that will feed people that are not getting a nutritious meal. So we need to get Gen AI right. We've started with some simple applications where we've used some simple tools to produce custom reports that would help the data scientists. So for example, we could say what would constitute a nutritionally balanced meal that was affordable and environmentally friendly for an adolescent girl in Cambodia. That's an example of something that's fairly straightforward. But we're now looking at more sophisticated uses, which are allowing the World Food Programme to change the game somewhat. So let me give you an example. I mentioned that food prices are very volatile, particularly because of supply chain issues as a result of various conflicts that we're all aware of. And we don't want to keep changing the cost of a diet or changing what is a healthy diet simply because food prices are changing all the time. So there was an opportunity to use Gen AI to really get on the front foot. So we're using Gen AI to look at food price bulletins to work out what are the underlying drivers of food price changes. Once we've understood that using the Gen AI, we can then start to apply that to these food baskets and then say, instead of just optimizing for lowest cost, let's optimize for lowest cost for the next month by building into the pricing structure some level of tolerance that we could only understand because we understand what drives future price changes. And that's allowed the World Food Programme to be far more proactive as opposed to responding all the time to changes.
So this obviously is a very rewarding program, not only for CAP, but for people around the world. What's different about this engagement versus some of your other public sector engagements?
So there's a couple of things here. The first is that the sheer international scale. This is a global public sector engagement with many stakeholders, not just the World Food Programme, but also aid agencies and the private sector with whom the World Food Programme needs to work. So it was really important to get stakeholder alignment at the outset across such a wide variety of people. And here it really helps to have a simple mission that binds everyone together. And our mission was simply to feed the world better. So that level of stakeholder buy-in was really important. The second was to do this in such a way that was easy for all of those stakeholders to collaborate. So we focused a lot on user experience. We also focused a lot on, as I mentioned earlier, democratizing the technology so that it was much easier to use than the previous versions. One other thing that we did that was rather different on this that can't regularly be repeated was that we've done this entire work over the last 4 years on a pro bono basis.
Wow.
Right? And why was that important? Well, we have used this program as a way of giving experience to new developers, particularly developers that have come straight out of college. So we've cycled well over 100 developers through this program. It's been great for them because they've got something on their CV, resume that really stands out. They've also got international experience in a way they couldn't have hoped to get before. From a Capgemini perspective, it's allowed those new developers to be much more marketable because they've got something really powerful on their CV. But it's also something that we all care about. Both the individuals, but also as a company, we care about. And it's also resulted in a phenomenal reference for us. I mean, the video you saw earlier is available on YouTube. So overall, whilst it's been a pro bono engagement, it's been a win-win-win for the employees, CAP, and the World Food Programme.
David, I want to thank you for sharing this example with us. This is phenomenal work. Meeting our mission where people live and people need us the most, and doing it pro bono is a phenomenal partnership. So thank you again for joining us today.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. So we heard a lot about technology innovation. We heard a lot about meeting customers where they are, delivering on our mission to public sector across two very, very diverse programs. Driving higher education and driving the World Food Programme are just phenomenal examples. As we look forward to 2025, we are continuing to build on our fast start and the growth we've had as AWS and our partners throughout the years. We will develop the right data approach for all of our customers, and we will enable generative AI as one of our future horizon pillars for our public sector customers. My perspective on this business is we're customer first, but partner everywhere across public sector. So I really appreciate your partnership. Thank you for spending an hour with us here today. Hope you enjoyed the silent disco format, and we'll be around to talk a little more with David and Jeff post the session. I will get in trouble if I don't say you need to take the survey, so please take the survey. You can find it in the mobile app and give us feedback on this session. Thank you to all of you participating.